Mr. Silbaugh here, and this is my take on Unit 10, Lesson 1. So, the focus of Unit 10, this is our last unit, is all about designing websites for businesses and the whole aspect of businesses as a whole and how they fit into the web development process. As you've learned up to this point, web design is not just exclusive to group or organization. Pretty much anyone can make a website. And the same goes for businesses. That's why there's a whole unit devoted to developing websites for businesses. So we're going to spend the next couple of sessions talking about how you could develop a website for business, which is somewhat different than developing a web page either for yourself or for another purpose. But keeping that in mind, some of you may use this and some of you may not, and that's totally fine, but you still need to understand the concepts of it. So, in developing a business website, the primary reason why someone develops a website for a business is they're trying to sell something, okay? So people use the web to shop and find products or services that they may want or need. And if you have a website, it's very important for any business because you're trying to move that product and sell that product or service. The business's website is a form of advertising and marketing for that business, and so it allows you to show off your company more than advertisements in print or other means of showing off the business. You having a good designed website for business is very important because it is another form of marketing and another way to represent that company. Companies can also use demographics, and this is just a group of people. They could be based on age, they could be income, education. There's tons of demographic characteristics and qualities. And websites, especially business websites and businesses in general, will use demographics to figure out who their target audience is. Maybe they want to target individuals 60 years and older. So how are they going to market to them? Okay. When you are developing your website for a business, you would think about what your target is. Who are you trying to get to buy this product or service? And if you do end up designing a website for a company, it's your job to make sure that the website complements your company, making sure that when people visit the website for the company, they're finding what they need and they're getting the information that they may need. And if they're able to purchase the product, they're able to do so easily. So these are some of the key steps for business web development. First, you need to identify a market, need, or opportunity. In this step, is there a need for your product or service? Okay, why are people going to want to buy it? You need to first develop the need for it. If there's not really a need or there's other competitors, you need to seriously think about it before you start going forward. Next, you need to identify a unique product or service to address that need or opportunity. This is essentially saying that once you've developed your product, or you haven't developed your product yet, sorry. In this, you are developing a product that's going to meet the needs. So your first step was to develop the need. Okay, why do people need this product? Next, you're actually going to develop the unique product that's going to meet their need. Okay, you have to be careful here because at this point you don't want to go after someone else's company that have already established themselves or created the same product or something similar. But it's okay too because the product that's already been established may be too expensive. It may be not as effective. Like there's different ways that you might want to challenge someone else and say, hey, I can do that better. Okay. Then you're going to define the target market. Who are you going to be selling towards? And then you need to gather essential user information to help improve the company's product. So essentially, once you've found out who you're trying to market this towards, you're going to gather some data and information about those people and see what their thoughts are and see what they may want and need, and you're going to tailor it to your product. Okay. Then after that, you're going to determine how the business can communicate with the target market, such as how are you going to reach out to them? Are you going to email them? Are you going to post on social media? Are you going to have the website? Like, there's different ways that you can communicate with your target market and keep them informed. Next, you'll establish the brand. This is when you start coming up with the cool ideas and the cool logos and the cool designs. And then you're going to determine how to advertise the product or service, including developing a website and social media. These are the steps, and the text recommends that you should do them in order, and I agree with them that you should do them in this order because it makes a lot more sense. Jumping around in this list can cause you to create a product that's not necessarily meeting the needs of the people, and you can have some business problems, okay? When you are developing a product, it's very important to do so in a series of steps and keep it in order. You don't want to just jump up and down along this list. So to design the business website, you must also have a clear set of goals and objectives in mind. So what is the goal and the objective of the website, and why are you making it? You need to have a clear purpose and direction. Okay, why did you set off to make this website? Once the first 4 steps are done, the brand needs established. Okay, so going back to the previous slide, once you've done the first 4 steps, you need to start thinking about the brand. The website and social media are important for building and maintaining a brand and allowing it to succeed. Once you have that brand established, you're going to want to market it and keep it going and put it in people's heads that they want to buy this brand. And whether you design websites or not, you can help your brand, whatever business you work for, whatever company you work for, because you will know about branding and marketing and web presence. With this whole course in mind, even if you don't go into web design, you now have the skills to tell someone who's making a website for you what you want to see and what other people may want to see. And you're able to give valuable advice now because of the fact that you know a little bit about web design and you know a little bit about marketing and web presence. So keep that in mind because these are valuable skills to use in the future. So let's talk about branding. A brand is a collection or concept of symbols associated with a product, service, or person. Okay, when you think of the golden arches with the golden M, you think of McDonald's. Okay, when you think of the Apple logo, you might immediately think of either like the iPhone, the iPad. You think of the company Apple. Okay, these are good brands because they have been put into our brains. We think about them because we know what they are and we know what they represent. Okay. If you think of McDonald's, you think of the French fries, you think of the burgers, you think of the food aspect of it, you think of the convenience. Like, there's a lot of things that may be associated with McDonald's that you think of. Same with Apple. When you think of Apple, you think of an iPhone, you think of an iPad, you think of these high quality, high end luxury products. And so that's what comes to mind. Brands can be pictures, icons, logos, and other graphic representations of the item the brand is intended to represent. Okay, when you see a brand, you know what it is, you know what they represent, and you know what they're trying to sell you. Okay, that's how brands have worked and how brands kind of come into our lives because we know about them. Once we experience them one time, we now know about them and we now know what they represent and what they're trying to sell us. The brand can help increase people's awareness of the product or service and can help grow it. Okay, I'm using Apple a lot. I'm going to use Apple as an example for a lot of this. When we think of Apple, we think of technology, and we're going to think of, what they're trying to sell us and what they're trying to market. So if they release a new product, we may be willing to give it a shot because we have used either their iPhone or their iPad in the past, and it may have been a good experience for us. Not always, And we may be more likely to buy it because, oh, this is the same company that makes the iPhone. I should definitely give this a try because I like my iPhone. This new product they've made is probably really good. Branding is used so people remember one product over the competition's product or the competitor's product. Okay, branding is important. Okay, I Apple versus Microsoft. Both are computer companies, but I may prefer Apple because Apple to me represents, luxury, top of the line, the best computers ever invented and created. But the same may go for Windows users. Okay, um, Apple may represent that it's luxury, it's designer, it's important. It also means that it's expensive. So as a consumer, the Apple product or the Apple logo may, oh, this is expensive. I need to go for Microsoft instead. So your branding is how it sets the mindset for your people that you're trying to buy, or the mindset of the people who are trying to buy your product. So decide on a brand. Okay. First things first, it needs to be simple. It needs to be easier to remember logos and graphics. People remember simple things. Apple, we think of the Apple logo, okay? It used to be the rainbow apple. I remember that growing up. And then it became just a silver plain apple. And now it's just like a black Apple logo, okay? They're simple. It's a simple logo, and people remember that iconic logo. It needs to be different. It's easier to remember if it's different from the competition. We know Windows is the four little window panes, okay? And Apple's just an apple. They're different. We know this. The Apple logo even has a chunk of the apple missing. We know that, okay? It's symbolic with the company, and it's easy to remember. There's really no other technology company that uses any fruit in their products. Safety doesn't offend its target market. Consider cultural, regional, national attitudes. For this, an apple's not really offensive to anyone. Okay, although there is some people do have some issues with it, but you can look that up yourself if you so choose. But it's not really that important. You can still do an edgy logo, but remember to be cautious. This is more controversial topics and more controversial subjects. This is if your website's doing something that's, might be considered edgy, because you want to make sure that you're not offending anyone, you're not upsetting anyone, but you may offend and upset people, but it's okay somewhat as long as your key demographic is okay with it, okay? What this is essentially saying is if you use an edgy or controversial logo or brand, it's okay as long as it's marketed towards the right people. If it's marketed towards the wrong group, they're going to get offended and they're going to get, want it taken down and want you to not bother them ever again. But if it's marketed towards the right people and marketed towards solely them, in general, it's fine. Okay. Next is promise. What are the company's benefits? What are you trying to sell as a product? Okay. What are going to be the benefits of this company? What is this company saying? Oh, if you buy this product, this will happen. Okay. Notice that with the Apple computers, when you buy an Apple computer, you buy it because it's, you view it as a luxury item. You view it as expensive, but the company doesn't come out and say that it's expensive. Apple, you're never going to find on Apple's website that they say, oh, this product is expensive. It's going to make you look better. They tout more of their experiences. They tout more of their, if you buy this product, you'll have longer battery life than the leading competitor. Okay. They tout more about the technology end and like the advanced qualities of it than, oh, this is a luxury item, this is expensive, you should buy it because it's a luxury item. You get that because you see the price eventually. You also get that because while you are looking at their website, you start to realize, oh, this has more quality items than the competitor's product. Next is the attitudes. What will the customer experience with the product or service? Um, this is essentially, what are you going to experience? How is the customer going to feel when they have that product in their hands and are using it? Like with the iPhone, you may feel like, oh, I have an iPhone. I am part of the elite. I am, have this expensive device, and that makes me more important. That may be the case for some people, but in some instances, like me, whenever I buy an iPhone, I say, oh, I have a top of the line product. Okay, I'm not in it about the price. Price, yes, concerns me, but I'm more about, oh, I have the top of the line, the freshest, the greatest, the best new product. Okay, that's me. That's Mr. Silbaugh. I always go for what's new, what's fresh, what's the most current product. Okay, that's what I experience. What you experience and what your attitude may be different than someone else's. Next is the personality. What will the customer feel when they purchase and use the product or service? This is different. This is essentially, how is the person going to feel when they purchase and start using it? And then lastly is the appeal. How do the customers connect, and how do you keep them connected? Like, for example, with my iPhone, um, I have an older phone, not too old though, but I'm going to be wanting to upgrade and update in the next few years, probably next few months. So I know, because I bought it, I'm going to use their website, and I'm going to go check out the latest and greatest model, and then research it, and then go find, and then decide to buy it or not. Okay. You can keep customers coming back for more because you have good social media or you have a good designed website. All right. Now that we've talked branding, let's talk about the development and the design. So if you work for a business's webpage, there are many, that should not be may. It's many resources available to you. Okay. Part of this course, as you know, I've introduced you to several resources and introduced you to certain things that you can use if you decide to go into web development. You can find information across the web, on social media, courses at the college level and technical level, um, online tutorials, journals, writings, books, and a whole lot more. Essentially, what this section is saying is, once you begin on this web development journey, you're not alone, okay? This course is just the beginning and foundations. If you decide to move on and decide to go on, there are other resources available to you that can help develop and sharpen your skills. It's always important, no matter what profession you go into, that you develop and sharpen your skills and become better. Okay, so if you do end up going more into web design, there's a lot of resources available to you that you can use and make your website even better. Don't be afraid to look out for resources. The website is a marketing effort and an important part of the advertising. So what this is essentially saying is, if you do develop a website for a company, you need to make sure that your website is the best. So make sure that you're not, um, slacking on your web development. Okay. It's important to have a website that effectively markets the company and product. Essentially, again, this is saying, if you do the company's website, make sure you're staying current with the latest web technologies, and make sure that you're using them fully, and make sure you're using them correctly as well. There is a section on evaluating resources in the text. The text provides a list of sample resources. There's like 7 or 8 of them. I'm not going to cover them here. You can go research them on your own, because we all have our own lists that we prefer to use. But you need to consider the following when you're evaluating the resources. Has the website been updated recently, or is the magazine still being published? Okay. If it refers to HTML4, it's an old version and you shouldn't be using it. Okay. Make sure that you're evaluating it and making sure that it's current, or at least somewhat current. HTML5 has been around for a few years now, so you can use books that are a little bit older, but you want to research current trends and new things and new updates. Next is the site and magazine created by people who are recognized by experts or are experts. Okay, you don't want some Joe Schmo off the street telling you about web design when maybe he's designed one web page in his life. you need to make sure that you are finding information from experts and good resources and people who are trusted in the field. And then lastly, does the resource tend to push your product over all the others? I keep saying that I like Dreamweaver for my web design purposes, but I would push that, and I'm biased towards that, but you want to be well-rounded. The Dreamweaver may work for me, but it may not work for you. So you need to keep that in mind. Look and see if there's a bias to pushing one product over the others. Okay, when you are designing a web page for a business, the most important thing is to keep it simple, okay? Other than marketing your brand and your product and service, you need to keep the web page simple. Most customers don't read a web page, okay? I thought about this while I was making this PowerPoint today. I'm looking to get new closets, okay? So I went to IKEA because I know IKEA, one of my favorite brands for furniture, has good quality products and is going to be easy and is going to be cheap for me to do it. I didn't spend any time looking at IKEA's website because I know what IKEA is about. Okay, I've had my experience. I continue to have my experience. I just started looking and started typing and looking for closets. Okay, I didn't read their webpage. I never do. Okay, you're gonna anyone's gonna scan the pages and pick out individual words and phrases. Like I was looking for closets, I knew what I was looking for. I just needed to search and start building what I needed to build. You can help people in spiders, not the physical spider. These are search engine scanners that scan pages so they can be added to search engines. Essentially, spiders are programs from search engines that go out and scan web pages and look for keywords. You can make it easier for those spiders for them to scan the page by structuring the page so it's easy to scan, making sure that you highlight keywords. Highlighted keywords, meaningful subheadings, and bulletin lists are ways to capture your customers' attention and help them find what they're looking for. Okay. If you keep these things in mind, it will make it easier for your customers to find what they're looking for, and it will make it easier for those spiders to find what they need to capture in order to make your web page searchable in an online search engine. There we go. To capture interest, you want to convey this central message in the first two paragraphs. Essentially, this is saying that when you are making a web page for a company, to get people's interest, you want to first get their interest. You want to come right out and say what the whole purpose of the website is within the first two paragraphs. And even when we were talking earlier this year, I always say, don't use paragraphs. People don't read. And the same thing goes here. If you are doing a paragraph, you should do it to explain the company, and that's really about it. Okay, you're marketing things. All subheadings, paragraphs, and bullets should start with appropriate keywords. Okay, you want to list it and make it so people can find what they need to find easy and quickly. To make effective pages, you need to have crisp and concise text, one idea per paragraph, the search engine keywords in the main parts of the text, and you can do what's called the inverted pyramid writing style when you are doing your message. You start with a conclusion. You're going to come right out at the beginning, why people should buy your product, and then you're going to do the details below it, okay? This is so that your pages are effective and so people are going to spend some time on them, okay? Again, less is more here. The less you have, the better off you are. People are going to be looking at your webpage for your product and service. I am one of those people that if I'm interested in a product or service, first thing I do is I look at the price. So if you don't have that price, somewhere, easily accessible, I'm not interested. I'm going to move on. If it takes me a while to find it, I'm not interested. If you're hiding it from me or asking me to call for a quote, I'm done, okay? But if you have it there quickly and you use keywords like affordable or low cost, things along those lines, I'm going to stay and look at your page more. Okay. Also, so when I look for something, I'm going to look for, does it meet my needs? Is it what I'm looking for? Is it something that I really truly need? And if I can find that, I'm going to stay with your company. Now, I'm only one example. There are other people who have other examples and other things that, what they're looking for. So you need to try and find a nice healthy balance of what are people looking for and why are people coming to this website. Next is you want to keep your customers returning. A simple website helps people come back. Navigating needs to be easy, and each page should have a navigation bar, and there are multiple ways to navigate home. Essentially, what this is, once you have hooked your customers, they either may buy something or they may not buy something, but they are like, oh, I might want to come back to them. Um, these are ways that you help keep your customers coming back for more, okay? And that's very important in a business, that if you are going to keep a customer, you want to have them come back and experience more. You want them to keep coming back and keep trying your product. All right, I know this was a long video, so I do apologize. But in summary, designing a business website is similar to a regular website, but in designing for business, you need to think of the company's image. What are they trying to sell? What are they trying to market? And you're trying to think of their brand. Keep in mind what the brand is and what the focus of the company is. Developing a web page for a business is similar but different than a regular website. Concepts are the same, but you're doing it for different purposes. All right, guys, that's going to do it for this lesson.